How young is too young for leadership development? I'm Suzanne Rath, and you're listening to Endures for your daily dose of endurance leadership and life lessons. Now, on Saturday, I had the pleasure of going in to observe our local Navy cadet group here in Cairns. The reason for this is I'm the incoming president of a Rotary Club. It's actually an online club, and I will put the link in the show notes, for empowering women and girls. And I get the privilege of choosing some of our project directions for 26-27. And I was really fascinated to speak to these young girls about the leadership development that they already have in place. Now, of course, anything to do with like Navy, Army, etc., Air Force is going to be structured. So they're going to build both physical resilience and, mental resilience and leadership capabilities. But what struck me was that these young girls are building skills that most adults never intentionally learn. So we go into the workplace and we think about leadership development from the point of view of a position rather than a set of behaviors. And some of the girls spoke, about the confidence they'd built throughout the program, about how they were, really surpassing the things that their parents had gotten to do, particularly their mums. Like several of them spoke about mums growing up in maybe a bit of a patriarchal society or not knowing what they could do. And several of the girls used phrases like, I know I can do lots of things now. It was so amazing. And so there's three core points that I wanted to touch on today that I learned from speaking with them. So the first thing, and a lot of us know this, but communication is essential as a leadership skill. And it's not about personality. We all need to learn to coexist with people of different cultures, people with different personality types, people with different ways of communicating. And it is the role of the leader to communicate effectively with each of those individual people. The second thing is the idea that confidence comes from action. Now, I've spoken about this before, but these girls, from the second they enter the program, they get taken on by other cadets. And so they do little tasks, they do more and more things. They get promoted, they learn things they never thought they'd do before. And it's not the fact that they get promoted that gives them the confidence. They get promoted as their confidence grows, and their confidence grows from stepping in to do slightly more things. And the third piece, which was really key, is the idea of support systems. So none of us thrive alone. We have to intentionally put the support systems around us to thrive. And many of them spoke about how they really found their tribe through entering this program. Now, I know there's a lot of research, say, on team sports, for example, in terms of teaching leadership. And some of the benefits of team sports are the resilience, the being part of a team, and actually the idea of being a follower rather than a leader first. So leadership being a behavior and not a title. And that is all really, really important. But often the people who find themselves in these teams are the people who naturally excel at a team sport, or who naturally are privileged enough to be involved in a team sport, or who happen to live in an area in which the sport that they want to participate in is available, right? And it's available at a decent enough cost and a decent enough time that their parents or somebody can bring them to it. I know when I went to school, we had hockey and rugby in my school. That was it. And there was no rugby for the girls. So hockey was your thing. We did a little bit of running and that was it. So the benefit of bringing leadership training into broader areas of the community, whether it's volunteer programs, whether it's teaching young girls and boys governance skills, whatever the case might be, is we're developing this society of people who have a clearer sense of identity, have a clearer sense of belonging, have a clearer sense of purpose, have more grit, have the ability to communicate, have more confidence. Who doesn't want a society like that? Thank you for joining me. And if you would like to join our next speaker meeting with our Rotary Club, I have put the link in the show notes. I'll see you tomorrow for more from Endures.